Do you have that one friend in your life who is extremely sensitive? They question a lot of things that may seem meaningless to other people. Okay, picture yourself walking at a mall with your best friend. But as you take 5 minutes to respond to a text message by someone else, they start asking multiple questions, such as, is the person you're talking to just more important than me? Am I actually your best friend, or are you just pretending to like me? And ultimately, yes, I know it may seem annoying and stressful to answer that, but I must admit that I am that sensitive friend. Except I wouldn't even dare to question someone like that in real life. This sensitivity described is something that comes to me almost every day, down to the smallest of details. It seems like I was like this since the day I was born, to the point that I fear starting a conversation with even my closest friend. I'm scared that I'm simply not important enough to occupy their time with my texts. I often fear that when a close friend, a lover, my mother even, shows the smallest possible sense of coldness, they're simply implying that they don't care about me as much anymore. It feels as if I need someone to say, I love you to me every single day to ensure that they still do. But obviously, that is unrealistic. I struggle to find someone who can listen to and understand my sensitivity. I thought I had some type of mental disorder, being really insecure about my relationships with every single person around me. But soon, I found this word to label myself. This is called being an overthinker. Being an overthinker honestly wasn't that bad at the start. For example, it allowed me to think very carefully before acting, considering multiple perspectives and potential outcomes. It allowed me to treat people truthfully in the kindest way possible. I try to make sure that no one gets hurt by using words that don't express my own true feelings. It allowed me to adapt better to the subtleties of a new environment, leading to creativity, new innovations. The list goes on. But gradually, this became worse. The sensitivity of being in a new environment contributed to my shyness. I would hold back my thoughts and fear to express them. I started to wear a mask, yes, even after COVID, covering all the features on my face, hiding all the traits in my heart. The considering other feelings part also became toxic. An ordinary expression from anyone can make me doubt myself for a long time. For the following weeks, months, or even years, I would reflect on every single word I said and how it might be misunderstood. The sensitivity towards my friendship led to the desire of wanting to create extremely strong, meaningful, and valuable relationships, converged into tears at last when I don't receive the same amount of care in return. So I feared to speak up, feared to take my mask off, feared even irrelevant people's opinion, and I fell in this downward spiral. I am surely not the only one experiencing this. According to a survey commissioned by the National 4-H Council and conducted by the Harris Poll, around 73% of teenagers experience overthinking. It has become a big part of any teenager's experience in a modern society. Over the past decade, there has been a significant rise in mental health challenges among teenagers. For instance, rates of depression, suicidal behaviors, eating disorders, and substance abuse. Now, have a look at this graph from the U.S. National Surveys on Drug Use and Health. Notice how the youngest age here has the highest anxiety levels? Ironic, isn't it? But as the amount of social media usage and peer pressure occurrence increases, people start to want more and more approval from others naturally. A 2019 study published in JAMA Pediatrics stated that teenagers who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media were at a higher risk of developing mental health problems, including overthinking and anxiety. And by 2024, the amount of U.S. teenagers experiencing an anxiety disorder raised up to 31.9%. That is like 1 in 3 of us. Those numbers are not only numbers. They took away lives and souls that were supposed to be healthy and joyous. And this number is increasing day by day. At this point, I think it became pretty obvious that overthinking this way is a sickness that must be cured in order to live a life with more freedom. But look at me now. I used to go through a lot of this. I'm not wearing a mask anymore, so I'm a different person from what the girl described above. What changed? Well, in the past, I would have been worried about how each of you here in the audience would think about my speech, the way I look, the way I talk. But here I am today, still, talking about one of my deepest vulnerabilities. So one last thing I would like to share here today is my path of stepping out of this downward spiral, finding my own freedom. This doesn't mean I completely got rid of the sensitivity within me. To this day, I still believe it is impossible to do so. What this means is to embrace yourself just a little bit more. It may sound complicated and abstract, but it really isn't. The easiest way to do so is just to keep everything simple. Leave your complexity behind and find your own clarity. One big person that inspired me to do so is Korean idol Rose Park. When asked to give suggestions to a fan dealing with an important decision in her life, she says, just acknowledging it and then not defining that fallout thinking that it's a failure. It means before the result has come, don't doubt yourself and don't brainwash yourself into thinking that you failed, because maybe you didn't. I started to embrace my sensitivity by expressing it in poems at first, and it soon became one of the things that brought me the most joy. These poems came together to become a portfolio as my Infinity Week project last year. Full credit to all my sensitivity and negative emotions. So in the end, I would say, just live a simple life. Says somebody who's still not simple. But every time you question yourself, you've got to simply trust yourself that you are a wonderful person and you deserve to be loved. I pinky promise you that, and I never break a pinky promise ever, ever. But also to realize that there's nothing bad about being an overthinker. Sensitivity fills people's life with meaning, allowing them to focus on details that others overlook, to appreciate the beauty around them, to notice small things like how the angle of sunlight shining on that window changed from yesterday. They're not only able to perceive the warmth of the world, but also empathize with the misfortunes of others. Sensitivity was never, ever a bad thing. It is a way to form a deep connection with our universe. And so now, back to my speech title, this. Is it weeds or is it flowers? Well, I guess you could say it's both. It just depends on how you want to look at it. If these negative thoughts are continuously avoided and ignored, they will become weeds, growing every day in your mind and taking up all the space for other beautiful things. So don't avoid it. Try to embrace it, because it's not that hard and it's just not that bad. That day in May 2024, I convinced myself to take off my mask, and it wasn't that bad. This day in March 2025, I stood in front of all of you right here and let out all my past agony, and it wasn't that bad. Thank you.